honestly. But I think this deck just needs to go fast. You have Synthesizer in the ring already as kind of your slow, grindy cards. I just don't think we're looking for another one. I think the bindings are also really just going to be that like critical interaction we need, and the way to beat Boros, which seemed like the problem yesterday. Got Mulligan the 7. Let's keep our 6-card hand here. A little unclear what we should be imprinting, or sorry, what we should be putting back. I think I'm going to put back the Sanctum of Ugin. No, I guess I have blue off the Talisman, so we can put back the island. I did consider Nettlecyst. Nettlecyst is interesting too. This might be a Jegantha game. So, Demir this time. The bindings are probably pretty nice too, can't be countered. Gonna play a turn 3 Jegantha. While we can. Thanks, Jegantha. Maybe they take the Tooth. Makes a top deck Synthesizer Colossus much worse. They do take the Jegantha. Now a card draw spell would be better than the binding. Yeah, I know we have Sanctum of Ugin and Ugin's binding here. Gonna be a little confusing. Okay, surely they're not gonna Murktide into the binding. Oh wow, they are. It's just great for me. Okay, so we're looking for a Synthesizer. We're looking for a ring. I don't know if they really have too many more good top decks. Can't quite cast Colossus this turn. We could if we had played this end of turn. This costs 6. I have 5. Does seem like I should save this. Seems like I should save this to trigger the Sanctums and trigger the Ugin's binding. The graveyard another Murktide here. Then they miss their land drop. So yeah, I think we're just chilling. I could play the Tooth in the turn, but if I draw Synthesizer, I'll be really unhappy I did that. Although, I don't know, maybe, so this would be 5 mana value for Colossus. Yeah, if you prototype the Enforcer, you don't get to trigger these. Okay, I'll probably wait one more turn to see if we can stick a Synthesizer. My opponent clings to dust this binding. I don't know if they know about the second copy. Okay, so I think we're gonna just go scale, potentially binding end of turn, and then we can start to pop off. Hopefully my opponent redeploys the Murktide this turn. Actually, we really need the scales to resolve. Oh, sorry. Should have tapped the Talisman. Okay, so this is going to cost not a lot of point in responding to this, because I would prefer for them to take the binding. All right, let's bounce the token. And then if my opponent plays Murktide, I can put this Enforcer into my hand, cast it for 4 mana, flashback the binding, bounce their board. Kind of the same thing. Seems like it'll be better for me to play the Axe and just take this hit. And then I have the ability to just... I guess the problem is the Cling to Dust. Yeah, the problem is the Cling to Dust. But I just get to play 2 Colossi next turn to... They discard a Murktide that we knew about. Discards another Murktide. So I'm down to 5. And they're just main phase clinging. I guess I'm just dead to the frog. So did I blunder again? Yeah, seems like I am just dead to frog. Tricky game. Tricky game. It feels like just every decision I'm making is the wrong one today. I'm gonna cut the boots. I'm gonna trim binding number 4, but the bindings seem pretty good. I just don't want to draw 2 copies again. Can trim a talisman maybe. Seems okay. Both talismans are the same. Deck tech reminder. Okay. So just the Simic list that's been going around with Kiora. I don't really like Kiora in this deck. It's like Kiora is nice in a deck that has like Fear of Missing Out and Channeler and Murktide Regent. So like your plan of making an 8/8 is complemented by other creatures that are attacking. The way this build is constructed, your Kiora has to deal all of the damage by itself. Kiora could maybe be a good like sideboard card sometimes, but I don't. Did I ever consider Excalibur, Sword of Eden, for this deck? I forgot about Excalibur. Total mana value of historic permanents you control. Okay, Excalibur is kind of juicy. Would my opponent ever consign my Ugin's Lab trigger here? They kill it with the 23 months. Thank you. Welcome back. It is kind of a blank card in the deck. Isn't Cure just like a blue season Pyromancer in the build? Well, it's not just like it. It doesn't give you card advantage. It's card selection. I'll finish the deck. Let me take this turn. So they have to discard 4 cards. Do you have an updated Golgari Asmo list? I played one with Yeager recently. You can check that out. Yeah, I don't know. She could be good here. Playing less than 4 Archaeologist in this deck also seems kind of crazy. 2 Utopia Sprawl is really odd. Also, this is something that I am kind of surprised to see. All right, so we'll make the first move here. Okay, so another counter. Then we tap the Tooth, so I have to discard another card. Okay, they discard a counterspell. I think now I'm gonna pop the relic so we don't get Murktided. Okay, pass back. And then if they hold up counter magic, then we're just gonna make a Saga token, and if not, we'll binding. Oh my gosh. Tough. I feel like I need to leave it back to block the frog because I'm just kind of on the defensive now. Scoop to a counterspell. Okay, no counterspell, no scoop. We have Jegantha. We have some good top decks. Yeah, I don't think I have too many more thoughts other than I don't think I really like Kiora here, but she could play better than I would expect. Okay, so the scale... I mean, maybe my opponent just flies the frog, right? But the scale is going to make this 5 toughness. So they could discard their entire hand. Okay, that is kind of what we needed. It even got me to exile one. I'm not just dead. But I am dead next turn if I can't flash back the binding. But if I draw a Metalwork Colossus here, oh, they have Graveyard Hate. Tough. So we have an Axe, we have a binding. I think we're probably supposed to mulligan these no plan hands. Right, hand has plan. It would be nice to keep a Tooth over a Talisman, but we just might not find our extra land. They might snare the first one. It hurts that your mono blue deck is playing Jegantha. I mean, this is why I want it banned. It's dumb. I just get to play Jegantha. No frog. Upkeep stop still in place though. What if I told you Companion was a dumb mechanic in its entirety? I would tell you I don't ever see Umori, Lutri, Zerda, Karuga. I guess I see Karuga sometimes. You're not wrong that Companion's a dumb mechanic, but you don't really, it's not that you see all of the companions in this format. It's really just a couple of them that you see all, or just Jegantha that you see all the time. You could maybe play Kozilek's Command. I'm not sure if it's right. Card is pretty good. So we get to go Synthesizer plus Tooth. Maybe they have a Force. No Force. So there's a Frogmyr Enforcer. This is going to cost 3 mana. Yeah, I'm going to keep that. If they end of turn Gorios me, we're going to lose this game probably. I feel like they would have main phased it. They discard an Ulamog, a little bit scary. But I can go Talisman into... Oh, I forgot about the Construct. I didn't count that for the Infinity. I can go Talisman into Frog, into double Metalwork Colossus, and make 3 more Constructs in the process. So this might be enough to beat Traxa. Now, maybe it's not right for me to play this Talisman, because if I play the Talisman, then my opponent could force some negation of the Talisman, and I would be kind of cooked. I guess if this was the red Talisman, I could just prototype, but I guess let's just... So we have, we have enough to just cast both Colossi. Yeah, let's just say I don't need any lands the rest of this game. Kihiro probably see uptick whenever control is good. I mean, the thing about Kihira is they countered the Frogmyr Enforcer. They didn't replicate. Main deck Consign is tough, though. I'm about to teach them today. I don't think they're forcing my Talisman in any world. Well, in a world where they like know about the card Metalwork Colossus and they know about Affinity 7 drops, they should force it. I think some thinking players will force in this spot. Talisman into Mirror wasn't it? Well, I did say this out loud. I don't know if you're watching on mute, but I played around a counterspell on the Talisman. The Talisman doesn't really seem to be doing much besides maybe letting me equip an Axe next turn. And if my opponent had been thinking enough, they could have figured out that it was correct for them to force or counter this. My opponent reveals the top 10. There's a Leyline Binding. There's a Thoughtseize. There's 3 Archaeologists. There's a bunch of Goria's Vengeances. They could Goryo's the Ulamog, but there's nothing in exile, so they would need to have a Solitude to do anything. I cooked this brew with a much better build that has a higher percent on Urza Saga with Draco Spice. I'm being clickbaited so hard here. Okay, and I've been lied to, or so I don't know what's going on. It's okay. You don't need to put so many buzzwords in your clickbait. I'll click on it. Okay, but archaeologists Goryo's Thoughtseize Island into their hand. They did not put the Leyline Binding into their hand, which seems to have been free. Also, I'm assuming the Draco Spice means you have Leyline of the Guild Pact and probably uncastable Leyline, if less uncastable Scion if you don't have Leyline of the Guild Pact. Okay, so this card is uncastable if you don't have Leyline, but you can still imprint it to Urza Saga. I don't know if I love this plan. You seem to be confused about this card, Gorping Warplow. I'm not sure how you're confused, but this card does not imprint to Ugin's Labyrinth. This card also does not discount Metalwork Colossus. Do you know Metalwork Colossus doesn't get discounted by creatures? Is that what you okay, yeah, this does not get discounted by creatures. Okay, thank you. Love you. If it did, this would probably be something we'd have tried already, you know. No. I see. You think that you can go cast Scion, and then all of a sudden your Metalwork Colossus is cost 0. That is not how it works. Okay, I'm bringing the relics. Consign is pretty solid against them, especially on the binding build. I don't know how many I'm going to play. I don't want to play any bindings, though. I mean, I could play maybe one binding. Nah, probably not. Don't think I'm going to play the Shadowspear. It could be okay to play the Spear. Warplow is a 1 black creature. You pay for 1 black. Yeah, I mean, I understand that this card can be a 2-mana 1/1 Death Touch with mana value 2. I do kind of get that. All right, I'm gonna cut the Spear for the second Consign. They consider version of artifacts with restore balance. I did not. I don't know exactly if that is possible. Okay, so my opponent is on 7. I'm going to click the keep button. The ability to get a relic off the Saga might be something that is good here. I kind of wanted to play a turn 1, but now that I've drawn the second ring, I just really need to have 4 mana on turn 4. Okay. Sure. That's fine. I think this may hurt them more than it hurts me. Too bad brass knuckles are so bad. I mean, they are so bad, yeah. I swear I can hear Lucy, but I can't see her. So not going to imprint against the Damping Sphere. I don't know if I'm going to play a Scales because I have this Colossus in my hand, or if I'm going to just make a Saga token. Well, I guess I just make a Saga token because I can still just Affinity past the Damping Sphere, or I can just cast it on their turn for free. I'll make a Saga token. I don't really know why they're flying the frog. I guess they just don't want it to get chump blocked. Yeah, people have suggested Excalibur. I don't know if I'm a believer in Excalibur. I don't know. It just takes so much to enable Colossus. I don't know how we're also playing legends that we can equip. But the card is interesting. Okay, to me it seems like there's a pretty good chance that they have a counter spell of some kind up. So I think I'm just gonna be happy enough to do this. And if they can, although maybe if they're them consigning the Saga trigger is like, Could we have planned for them to consign the trigger, then resolve a ring? Maybe we could have done that. We do get to play a scale on their turn. Yeah, opponent's not a replicator. We can't scale now. We can. It costs 1 mana. I have 1 mana. They discard another frog. It's kind of interesting. Why wait with scale? Well, on my turn, scale costs 2 mana because of Damping Sphere. Oh, sorry. I guess I for some reason I was thinking I had cast a spell. No, never mind. We had not cast a spell there. Not considering double block. Well, they're gonna get this flying, so I don't think a double block's gonna happen. Now it does seem pretty likely that they have another piece of counter magic, right? Does that mean I'm actually just Saga tokening my way out of this? It seems kind of likely that that'll work. Although now... do any of their counter spells really get restricted by this Damping Sphere here? Not Consign so much. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they used Force of Negation. Yeah, I think it just does seem like they're on more counter magic. So I think I want to go in on this, put them down to 9, be able to just present lethal with the constructs next turn. Yeah, this is Goria's. They discard Godless Shrine end of turn. There shouldn't be any reason to do that. Just take your draw step first, right? So main phase Surveils. They have Gorios in their hand if they're doing this. Is their card Ulamog? And okay. Discard Consign. Well, thing about Excalibur is it counts all historic permanents, so it's way better than normal affinity. I know that, but it's like, it is just a blank card, right? So, like, Excalibur is like a blank card that enables your Colossus, but it enables your Colossus in a lot of situations where Colossus would have already been enabled, right? Can we agree that that's the text on the card? I didn't board out my boots, right? Yeah. So it's like you have to have a ton of stuff in play, and then you get to play this, and then you get to play your Colossus. It's just a little too much. Okay, so they can Gorios this Ulamog, but doesn't do anything until next turn. So I think we're just on the boots with the spurs here. Although I don't know, maybe Gorios is better. Or sorry, Relic is better. The thing is, it's just like my opponent's hand is I guess let's just actually float here, because if they consign this trigger, I will have wanted to cast the ring instead, maybe. And then I can make a Saga token off this. Yeah, but one of their cards is almost definitely Goryo's. And because they can't binding Goryo's because of the sphere. Yeah, I just don't really think there's an avenue for victory for them if I get the boots, so let's get the boots. And see if I'm wrong. Maybe. I mean, the problem is, like, you have to play a ton of basic lands with border posts, and there's kind of too many good non-basic lands for this archetype. Any wins versus energy? Not match wins. We lost energy at the earlier this league. The bindings feel like they're gonna help a lot though. So I think I'm gonna play Talisman Boots on turn 1, Synthesizer or Binding on turn 2 plus the Saga. Probably the Synthesizer. It would be awesome to draw a Tooth or a Scale. Then we could go Synthesizer, Tooth for 0 mana, make a construct, haste the construct with the boots. Am I happy that my opponent surveilled a collected company into the yard then passed the turn? I don't know. What is happiness anymore? I guess I'm gonna keep the axe and then just cast it, trigger synthesizer, haste to construct next turn. And then the turn after I can go Colossus in hand, cast Colossus. Sanctum of Ugin, maybe get Shadowspear off Saga. Why do we keep Axe over other synthesizer? It discounts the Colossus by more for the following turn. Which I think is critical, right? This is 7, 8, 9, 10. And then yeah, it's 11 once we get the Shadowspear off the Colossus. So we get to go next turn. Tutor a 1-drop into play, Colossus in hand, Sanctum of Ugin. I guess Ugin's binding if we don't want to Shadowspear. In this deck, does it matter to have Talisman versus Signet? I mean, Talismans are generally better because you can use the mana immediately. It's kind of a bad draw. Should be okay. Yeah, it's my only Saga target. So I guess we still cast this, and then we play this, and then we think, do we want a binding? I think binding, and it's gonna be more fun. Some of these turns are so crazy. I'm worried about getting addicted to this. So we're up against Heliod. I'm gonna bring at least the needle. Flute also maybe seems probably good. I think we can cut the boots if we're bringing in double needle. I'm trim a talisman and 2 frogs. Did Colossus Graveyard effect come up yet? It came up yesterday. If you could put Brass Knuckles in here, I'd be really into it. Well, I mean, we have the modern version of Brass Knuckles, which is the teeth. These are just 0 mana instead of 4 mana, and obviously Brass Knuckles is going to put a lot more power into play, or like more artifacts in play, but for 4 mana instead of 0. And then these also like 0 mana trigger synthesizer. I think it's just kind of like Brass Knuckles isn't good enough, and this card is good enough. What are the considerations for Frogmyr versus Sojourner's Companion? Well, Sojourner's Companion has artifact land cycling as the upside versus prototype. So for you to want to play that card, you would have to have the ability to artifact land cycle, which is not something we can do. So at the moment, it seems incorrect to play that one instead. If we draw an imprintable, things get kind of interesting. Because do we save it for? I guess we're just gonna always synthesizer probably. Okay, we did draw one. Now, I think that we probably don't have the luxury of like really trying to wait around. I think I'm just gonna go bottom both of these. And then try to instant speed this. This could be kind of risky against like a Beseiju, but maybe the attack with the Arbor Elf. Seems like Spearmint Powder's not good. I mean, Spearmint Powder was good yesterday. I just don't think we can play it in the blue build. I don't know if there's room. Alright, that's Infinite Life. Honestly, we could win this game on Magic Online. We could just make 300 power and they would just never be able to win. But let's just not do that and go to game 3. But Serum Powder was good yesterday, so I'm not... The Colossus build just still could be better. You just play Kozilek's Command in the Colossus build, possibly. Okay, so we're on the play with this hand. Seems like I should be playing the Saga turn 1 so that I can get Needle on turn 3 and have 3 artifacts in play, so I can go Simulacrum Synthesizer, Tooth, make a Construct. And if I draw another Tooth, then I think we have enough to also Colossus and play a second Colossus. Binding is imprintable, though. Imprintable to what? Phyrexian Tower, or another land that can sacrifice Colossus for sideboard against Binding and Solitude matchups. I'm not. I guess I'm not that. We played against Jeskai Control yesterday and won really easily. I don't think Phyrexian Tower probably is very good. Not in this metagame. So if I draw a land, I can play Talisman first. That would give me 4 plus 6 plus 1, which would be exactly 11 mana value. So a land or Tooth is a very good top deck here. A second Talisman is very interesting. So I'm just going to needle their Wooded Foothills and be a jerk, I guess. But I mean, this isn't an angle shoot. This is just them punting, kind of. And then we're going to just go Talisman, Talisman this turn. And then next turn we go pop off. Yeah, you could maybe one tower, the mono brown version. I don't think it would be a big deal. I mean, it's an idea for sure. Another tap land. Okay, so we play the Synthesizer. Scry 2. We'll keep the Flute on top, but ideally we're going to be shuffling this turn. Dang, these turns are so nice. Oh, they're so crazy. Oh, these turns are really nice. Okay, we're on the play against a Jegantha. I'm going to click this keep button despite, you know, it does feel like 2 more like Frogmites or like just 2 more imprintables could be really good. They're on a mill to 5 here. I don't know if that means -2 bindings, like -1 Talisman, -1 binding maybe. Something like 1 Revoker in the sideboard for Sanctum of Ugin versus Belcher. I mean, it's just probably worse than playing more Needles. 2 Null Drifters. I don't know that Null Drifter is better than the Affinity cards. It could be. It could be. So we're against Domain Zoo. If I draw a Tooth, I think I don't play Saga next turn. Did not draw Tooth. This deck does regularly end up playing Labyrinth without printing, so I like adding more 7-drops. I mean, yeah, I think I agree, but this is also not like that abnormal to do this sometimes. No, I don't think this is going to ever be an Archway deck. Metamorph to copy Colossus, can copy Colossus. I don't think Metamorph makes that much sense. I mean, it's okay. It triggers Synthesizer, copy Synthesizer, but I think it's just going to be win more. Okay, so they drain me for 4. 3 cards in their hand. Yeah, I know it can copy a ring, but like it only does anything if you're ahead, right? Or if you have stuff going on. That's my issue. Seems like I'm gonna have to get Shadowspear. Let's hope they don't have a stub. Two interesting ones. I guess we'll take the Synthesizer over and not the Axe. Could maybe also just keep the Axe. Kind of feels like they have a binding, which kind of sucks. No, I think there's like 0 chance Thought Monitor is correct. It's like a turn 4 card in a deck that's trying to pop off on turn 3. Fomori Vault is interesting. Okay, so binding in response. So my construct shrinks down to 5, then back up to 6/6. So if I equip the Shadowspear, this gets double blocked, but I can equip the Axe and get in for 12. And I can just move both over to the Colossus next turn, potentially. It's kind of nice to be like so ahead against Leyline Scion into Kavu Binding. I'm not sure if they did the right thing, but I think they did the right thing by exiling the Synthesizer. I have another Synthesizer on the top of my library. I think I'm a bit more likely to just equip next turn. No next turn. Wow. They probably should have looted with the Kavu, but I'll take the dub. So with us having 4 binding, I don't know if I need any consigns. I think I might just run it back. Something to use Sanctum to not die. I get it. I understand why you would want it. I just don't think I would... Like, you could put a Revoker on the sideboard that could also just be another Needle, and you could more consistently and quickly, like... Just, I guess, I don't know. You already have the Needles for Saga. I don't think I'm going to play Revoker for Belcher. We have, like, 8 sideboard cards for Belcher already, too. But I do think it's an interesting thought. My opponent has disconnected. Cannot handle that my creatures are bigger than their creatures. I will say our win percentage against non-energy has been really high. I think we have 7 wins and 1 loss against non-energy, and I think that we have 5 losses against energy. So I don't, it's kind of a mixed bag. I don't know exactly how I feel about that. We could have maybe won game 1 against energy this league. House of the Drake with the 23 months. Thank you, welcome back. Appreciate you. Jegantha is such a flavor fella, mono brown. Listen, this is why you should ban Jegantha. It is so dumb that I can play this. I just play 8 talismans. They all cast Jegantha. We won a game with Jegantha yesterday. I don't think any deck exemplifies my Jegantha tiredness like this one does. We could play. I guess we have binding now, so don't worry about it. Yeah, so I think that they have not reconnected. Oh, it says they have conceded. Over here in the game log during sideboarding, it said that they disconnected. It doesn't say anything else. Okay, they're back. It's hard because energy inhibits other decks. I mean, that's true. I mean, it's also just like sometimes you brew a deck and it's like particularly bad against energy. I do think that these bindings are going to help, but will they help enough? I don't know. Let's keep this on the draw against Domain Zoo, who was yet again on a mulligan to 5. From Jegantha's biggest defendant to Jegantha's biggest hater, what happens back? Well, maybe I'm being misrepresented here, I think. I've been Jegantha's biggest defender saying, yes, you should play it, this card is broken, for years. And people say, I'm not going to play that in my sideboard. And they lower their win percentage. Maybe you're confusing me saying that with me saying you should ban it, right? Someone suggested Ratchet Bomb a sideboard card for energy. I feel like the bindings have got to be better. Ratchet Bomb's also just dies a static prison before it does anything sometimes. Just kind of rough. I accept the ring top deck. Okay, so we have 6 mana value. That's going to 9 if we play a Tooth. So if we draw another Tooth, we can go Binding, Colossus, Crush. Loot away Flage for some value. If I draw a blue source, I can kind of comfortably Minamo. Okay, so do we think our opponent has Stubborn Denial? If they do, take 7 down to 10, 2 more. If my opponent does have Stubborn Denial, then I will probably want them to... I probably just want to, like, bait it with a binding. Do you see the fact that utility lands are so good and important as a good or bad thing? I don't know, maybe kind of neutral. So, I mean, in like 2019 to 2021, Wizards had like a really distinct design philosophy that players should not be mana screwed or mana flooded, and they sort of designed around. Yeah, it's hard to facilitate and design around mana screw, right? It's hard to say, oh no, it's hard to design around players just not drawing enough lands. But in order to get around that, you give players mana sinks, so conversely they just play more lands in their decks, so that they are going to get mana flooded and mana screwed less often. Now, good utility lands are a big part of this. I think I'm generally enjoy surveyor lands. I generally enjoy creature lands. I even like Urza Saga a lot at this point. Sanctum of Ugin. I will say I one thing I don't like very much usually are the channel lands. I don't really like that the first copy of Beseiju is pretty often better than a basic forest. Although in Utopia Sprawl decks, that's not as true. Kind of rambly, but like all things in life, it depends, and there's a lot of nuance. Okay, so I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I think I just play Leyline Axe here. Oh no. Alright. This looks like normal lag. I'm gonna try to do the tab over trick. Okay. We'll cast the axe. Would be surprised to get Force of Negation, but it would probably get us. And then we can just bounce their board and put 4 Tintins into play. 0 mana. Search your library for 2 0-mana Tintins. And this spell is also a Tintin. And you bounce all non-land permanents your opponents control. Quite the card. What's my temperature at untapped DFCs? I mean, they just make like combo decks a bit too good usually. I think I'm not a big fan of them overall. Me and the boys crushing Domain Zoo. Me and the boys. Oh, so I could play Enforcer. We'll save it. Actually, saving it for another binding is maybe even correct. I think we're gonna be okay though. I've not had a turn 1 Colossus, unfortunately. Opponent says love it into Creeping Corrosion. Okay, let's get a 4-1 prediction. So this is our locked in second 3-2 Colossus. Can we get our first 4-1? There's definitely something here. There's definitely something here. This is a pretty hand. We're on the draw. I'm definitely going to click the keep button. We'll see what happens. This could be a turn 1 Colossus if we draw another... No, I guess the problem is we have to imprint the Colossus to go Talisman, Tooth, and then we can't cast it if it's underneath. Is this energy? Will we beat energy for the first time? At the moment, I think we have lost 1 time to non-energy decks, and we have not beaten energy a single time. Too stunned to speak. Okay, it seems like I should cast this. And at end of turn, cast 1 tooth, save the other tooth in my hand in case I draw Synthesizer. Turn 1 Saga, go for the Saga game. I mean, I can cast this Colossus on turn 2 and then go for the Sagas. But I also kind of think that I'm supposed to Ugin's Binding the turn before I cast my Colossus, so I can just have a Colossus on an empty board, sort of like just Dothraki on an empty field. Okay, so we'll cast 1 tooth. Okay, so the problem with... No, I can just bounce a Blood Moon. Yeah, we can. Talisman, Saga. Hold up this binding. If they Blood Moon, we float a mana off the Saga. The Blood Moon will beat the Saga, but then we bounce the Moon. Then we get to Colossus in hand, cast Colossus, bounce their board. And this is, in the worst case scenario of a Blood Moon. Best case scenario, my opponent just plays creatures. No interest in Kappa Cannoneer. Seems you didn't tune in yesterday. We had Cannoneer. We've cut them for Ugin's bindings, and the bindings seem to be performing so far. So my opponent has some combination of the One Ring, lands, non-static prison removal spells in their hand. And now an Ocelot Pride. All right, so we bounce this to our hand. We cast it for 0. We bounce their board. And then we get to make a Saga token. And we can potentially, next turn, haste another Saga token off Boots, or we could equip Shadowspear, equip Leyline Axe, a lot of options. Why did you do this during instep? So that I have to cast Ugin's Binding in order to flash it back, which seemed important to do. Maybe we should bounce Guide of Souls. Or I'm just going to bounce everything. It doesn't matter, right? Oh, bounce Guide of Souls and it's supposed to trigger. Okay, maybe it does matter, huh? So I don't have a main deck Needle. Seems like haste is not on the menu. I'm going to equip, I think, on a construct. Excalibur sort of read into consideration over Frogmyr. So Frogmyr triggers Sanctum of Ugin, which is a pretty big deal. Excalibur is also literally a blank card that is basically only castable in moments where Colossus is also castable. So with no legends in the deck, the card is just blank, which I don't like very much. I'm so tired. Think you played against this guy before? Just got Control Mirror. I mean, I recognize the username, I guess. I do play a lot of Magic Online. They hit a Blood Moon. Not a very good hit. Would ever consider playing 2 Shadowspears. Shadowspear is legendary, so I would not. This is Elspeth's Heliod Killer. A weapon of darkness for a warrior of light. Yeah, it doesn't really come up that often. If it wasn't legendary, maybe. Do you feel like Frogmyr Enforcers are better than Companions? Well, in this deck that's not playing any artifact lands, they definitely are, and we have some red sources to prototype them. If we were playing artifact lands, like the Colossus build, in that build we were playing the Companions. I don't really want to play any tapped artifact duels. Spike, do you forget the triggers when I'm playing tabletop because of habits of MTGO? Sometimes. Maybe more so because the only paper events I've been playing lately have been sealed and draft events that I'm honestly not prepared enough for, and I'm reading a lot of cards for the first time and going kind of crazy. I would say for the most part, I'm not so bad. Have they played their land yet? I don't think they have. They still have 8 cards in their hand. I thought it might be better to have consistency of trample. Well, yeah, you have 4 axes and 4 sagas for your Shadowspear. One more Shadowspear is not really doing anything. Do you ever consider Map for Saga Loops? Map for Saga Loops has just never really been that good, and I don't think would be that good now. Okay, so they might have enough energy to Galvanic Discharge something. They're gonna get a lot of energy on the end step. Up to 10. So if I draw a land, I can get this up to 13 toughness after the ring resolves. Although I think if they had discharged, maybe they would have already used it, but oh, well, drew another tooth. Perfect. So now they can't discharge this. I just wait to respond. Okay, I go to combat. I attack. Can I get up to 13 with the scale? Yeah, sorry. I guess for some reason I knew this and then I guess I didn't really. Also, if my opponent could have flipped a Johnny, or if they had discharge, maybe they should just flip to Johnny on their turn. Okay, but yeah, we can get this. Yeah, so they can't. Your 1-mana removal spell can't kill my 14/14 now. You don't have enough energy. Come on. But they can still deal 13 damage and then the first strike hit, but I can give it 2 more points of toughness. But I guess if they put both their first strikers in front, that's enough. What about Border Post? The problem with Border Post is you have to play a lot of basics. Your deck has to be kind of like all basics almost, or your mana, and there's just too many good utility lands. Okay. Get scaled, nerd. Get scaled. Get toothed. Whoa, no. I have... dang it. I thought this was 2 scales. Dang it. I thought I had two scales, and... no. Are they dead? Please be dead. Please be dead. I think they are dead. Yes. Okay, cool. Okay, we both miscalculated. I thought I could raise the toughness enough there. Okay. We're kind of pre-boarded for energy with our 4 main deck Ugin's Bindings. I think I still want a Needle for Bombardment, and then sometimes you'll name the ring, sometimes you'll name a Johnny. Probably just cut a Boots. Nah, the Boots are probably pretty important. We could cut a Saga on the draw against the Blood Moon deck. Kind of weird to bring in a Saga target. Let's just not bring the Needle. We're just binding against that stuff. All right, one more, and we will get our first energy victory and our first 4-1 with the deck. The fact that they were so close to winning is insane. I mean, were they, or did it just take forever because they ringed me twice? When I top decked my ring, I cannot believe we have another month of ring. Minimum. They might not ban it, you know. They might not ban it. Is this a turn 1? Dang, it's not. So this is 4 plus 3 plus 2 is 9. So I think we're going to go turn 1 Talisman, turn 2 Synthesizer into Tooth. And then we can put the Colossus into our hand. And it could have been a turn 1 Colossus. But now it's turn 2, you know, Synthesizer double Tooth, so I can't be too upset. No, come on. Come on, no, not my Talisman. So now what do we do? Do we cast it? I think we just cast a Tooth end of turn. If you didn't auto yield, you could have Toothed. I mean, should I have Toothed when I have a Synthesizer in my hand? I could just draw a blue source and get 2 constructs. I know you dislike Raptor. I mean, I love Raptor. I just think it's the best card. Um, You know, I think people are kind of sometimes confusing whether I like or dislike a card versus like whether or not I think it's like the best card in the deck or bannable or whatever. It's not always the same. Okay, it kind of feels like to win this game, I just need to draw an island. So I think I'm just going to play to that. All right. Maybe have one more turn. This game could have been so sick. You still should have played Tooth. I mean, maybe if I drew an island, I could go Synthesizer 3 constructs. That's like a whole extra construct. If I play the Tooth, then I can't even necessarily Colossus. Like I couldn't have Colossus this turn. No, I think I feel fine. I don't know. Fine. No. Oh, you're right. I don't have enough affinity. Sorry. No, you're right. Okay. Game 3 anyways. Okay, if only we were on the play. Save me, Jegantha. We're on the play this time. Mediocre Saga hand, I don't think is getting the job done. Opponent's on mold to 6. I'm going to go to 5. This hand is just not enough of a plan. This hand needs to draw a Colossus. Maybe I should have kept the 6. I don't know. Yeah, we've been playing Knights of the Old Republic lately. So if I draw a Colossus, I can still cast it. But I guess I can't cast it and equip the spear unless I cast this now. So I'll cast this now, and then I don't know. I guess I'm probably pretty cooked. This costs 4. I can make it cost 3. It's not enough to cast it. This deck is so close. It just can't beat energy. I really felt like that game 2 was our game. Then they got me off the Talisman. I don't know that our 6-card hand would have gotten there. 3-2. I mean, obviously, there's something going on with this deck. It's pretty powerful. The turns are exciting. Energy matchup quite bad. Sideboard with Flare. I mean, I'm main decking 4 Ugin's bindings. I don't have red mana in my deck besides 4 Talismans. I don't know. I don't know that we could just sideboard some whip flares and be all right. I think the 7 would have gotten there.